Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 4 of the 2022 Manufacturers Cup Stage 1 taking place at Monza with the Group 4 cars. So let's take a quick look at the race details. 10-lap race, Monza Group 4 cars. Fuel and tire are ×1 and we're on the racing hard tires, so neither fuel or tire will be an issue, but there is a mandatory pit stop that you need to do, so you need to go to the pit stop one time to avoid getting a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. BOP is on and tuning is disabled. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the lap, guys. So bring yourself towards the left side of the track. You're going to look for the 150 meter board and you're going to brake right as you pass it. So this is especially the case when you're by yourself. Brake just as you pass the 150 meter board. Brake hard for a short while. Do some trail braking, so easing off of the brakes as you're turning in, taking advantage of the curves, but don't go too deep onto the orange curves. Lots of throttle control needed through here to try to get a successful exit out of the first chicane. Now you can stay on the right side of the track and you want to try to mentally prepare yourself for the second chicane, as this one, at least for me, I find it to be the most frustrating turn or chicane out of this track. But anyways, brake just as the wall on the right ends, and you want to brake hard for a short while. Once again, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, taking advantage of the curves once again, being really careful on the throttle, try not to go too deep onto those orange curves. If you nail it down, you can gain a load of time right there. Now brake just as you pass the 50 meter board. I do 50% braking power and shift down to help the car turn in a bit more. Be really careful getting on the throttle. Then this time, brake before you pass the 50 meter board. So full braking power for a very short moment. Ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Carefully getting on the throttle. You want to try not to get on the turf, as that will slow you down, or worse, drag you into the gravel. Eventually you want to make your way towards the right side of the track. Don't mind the birds in the background if the mic is grabbing that. But anyways, look for a path on the right. That is your next braking point, so brake hard for a short while. Ease off the brakes as you're turning in, taking advantage of the curves. You want to be a little careful on the throttle to get a good exit out of Ascari. And if you're in the Viper, it is possible to shift early into 4th gear and then just take the rest of Ascari flat out. At least that works for me. For some, they can do a little more throttle control to get a bit more power out of Ascari before shifting up to 4th gear. That works as well. But anyways, for Parabolica, you want to brake just as you pass the 100 meter board, so brake hard for a short while. Ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. You can let the car coast for a moment, so no braking nor throttle, to let the car turn in a bit more and then get on the throttle. And just bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and that is it for the lap guide. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. Alright, so this is a 10-lap race at Monza with the Group 4 cars, and as we mentioned earlier, fuel and tire are ×1 and we're on the racing hard tires, so this would be a really straightforward zero-stop race, except there is a mandatory pit stop in place, so you do need to pit one time so you don't get a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. Normally, the way that this will work is the following. If you are starting in the front, you can pit as late as lap 9. If you start in the back, you can pit as early as the end of lap 1. However, it's not going to be as straightforward as that, because you want to constantly be under someone's slipstream, because Monza has a ton of high-speed areas, so you want to take advantage of the slipstream to go faster, work with others to catch up to the group ahead, or to get away from others behind you. And this will especially be the case in the higher splits where slipstream is literally life or death. So in those scenarios, that's when you pit in with your group, or what some people call the slipstream train. And let's say that you're in the back of a group of cars and they start to pit in, you're going in with them. So you can try to remain in their slipstream as soon as you come out of the pit stops. And I only say that because I know for some cars, they're going to need to rely a lot on slipstream to remain competitive, because the moment that they fall out of the slipstream range, which is around 3/4 of a second, then their car starts to perform a lot worse. But anyways, let's go ahead and go on over to the pit stop. So this is at the end of lap 9. So we're going to go ahead and not change tires and not refuel. So this is pretty much a stop and go, as fuel and tire wear are not an issue at all. I mean, they are ×1, so not an issue at all. So we're just going to go to the pit stop, hang out there for a while, and then leave the pit stop. Your pit loss is around 17.5 seconds, and make sure you don't cross the white lines, otherwise you will pick up a 3-second penalty. So please just stay in between those white lines as you exit the pit stop. But other than the mandatory pit stop that you need to do, this is a pretty straightforward race. And also, just to illustrate how strong the slipstream is, I'm actually under the slipstream of the AI car in front of me, and I'm going to gain a boatload of speed, because slipstream is love, slipstream is life. But anyways, at the end of this race, this is going to be around a 20-minute race. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So thank you guys for watching the video, and that's it for me. So this is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.